Hey guys, it's Jamesanity, welcoming you to the Week 7 weekly recap for the CSML. With me today is...
Yeah, it's your boy, NoPolicies, aka the Gaming Club, aka coach of the Beijing Behem, here to deliver you the finest weekly recap since week 6, I think.
We
Yeah.
didn't have a weekly recap week 6.
Yeah, I said I think, so week 5 then. I don't know what week it is, to be honest.
That's kind of sad. But anyway, there's one thing we do have to address, and that is the Zion Zards versus the Los Angeles Critras. Unfortunately, this match did not and will not happen. Cherrymander is leaving the CSL, so we wish them the best of luck, and that's about all I have to say. So, yeah.
It's going to be hard to move forward.
Next, or rather first, we have King BC and the BC Bastiodons versus Ewok and his Charleston Kinglers. Now, looking at this, you can already see a bit of a team matchup. Like there's Weavile and there's Empoleon, and the only thing that really touches Empoleon is like Volcanion, maybe Flygon, but that's about it. So you can immediately see that BC has the matchup, but he unfortunately lets his Rotom Frost die turn 1 to a flamethrower. I'm not sure what was going on there.
I think he explained it in his video. He said something like, if he kind of wanted to see if he was Scarf, because I think because he would have outsped and he could have just like taken him out. But if he wasn't Scarf, then he could have just like Thunderbolt and killed him. Like, you know, if he wasn't like Wakanberry or something. I guess it's like a good way to like see if his, you know, Volcanion is Scarf, but it's definitely interesting because like Rotom Frost put in quite a bit of work against his team. I honestly don't know why it wasn't Scarf, to be honest. Like, I don't know. Blizzard does a lot. I don't know. I don't think Rotom gets Grass Knot, but Blizzard, T-Bolt, that kind of thing. The only thing that really like doesn't get super effectively hit is Celebi, or not Celebi, Quagsire. But that's assuming that. I mean, if he had HP Grass, then he literally hit everything on the team, at least the team that he faced off against. But I guess it's a way to find out if the Volcanion is Scarf. Definitely risky, but I guess it worked out for him.
So the Never-Ending Nightmare play, BC goes for the Never-Ending Nightmare, the Ghost-type Z move, on a Celebi with his Gardevoir, and it hits the Thundurus instead. And I honestly think that was really helpful for him, because it weakened the Thundurus to the point where it couldn't really switch in anymore on anything, and it couldn't really do enough damage because it was Life Orb, and once it Volt Switched out, it took the Life Orb damage, and it's not going to be able to switch in on rocks again, so...
Yeah, definitely unfortunate. I mean, I don't know if I'd say I disagree with that, because, like, I think Never-Ending Nightmare, at least somewhat, was close to killing Ewok at the point his Celebi was at. So, I mean, it definitely could have provided chip damage. I don't really know why he sent in Thundurus, to be honest, because, like, yes, a lot of his team is special, but, like, I don't really think Thundurus is a really good, like, answer to...
I don't know. I would have sent in Primarina immediately because it's a Gardevoir, and Primarina kind of hardwalls it unless it's carrying Energy Ball.
Which he could have. Which he didn't end up carrying it, but I don't think he would have gone for the Energy Ball. I think he would have probably just gone for the Shadow Ball. I don't really know. Because I think he went for Lights. He had, like, Light Screen on his Gardevoir, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he had, like, Light Screen, Shadow Ball, Ghost EMZ, Psychic. I think. He probably had Psychic. I'm not 100% sure on that. And probably some other coverage move. It wasn't Energy Ball, because there was a point in the match where it was this Gardevoir versus the Primarina, and he just went for Shadow Ball. Probably just get chip damage off. But there were a little bit of hacks in this match, like getting a Shadow Ball special defense drop on the Celebi, which could have allowed the Celebi to maybe like kind of stall out the Gardevoir. I mean, it would have come eventually, but getting it first turn was really unfortunate because then it doesn't allow Celebi to get back up to the range of HP it wants to be at, because then it like could have gotten back to full, and that could have been very helpful for Ewok. But
yeah, one thing I do want to mention is Screech.
yes,
What even is?
I mean,
What even is? I mean, it worked by being able to kill the Quagsire, but I mean, I guess it worked. I'm not entirely sure, like, how much it really mattered. Like, he still lost his Weavile to Life Orb Recoil, so...
Yeah, I mean, Screech kind of just was like... I don't know. I think it worked for him, but I do think that things like that are definitely, like... I don't know. Certain moves like that, it's really risky because you're wasting a move slot. I mean, I guess if you don't need an extra move, but like having like things like Ice Shard could have allowed him to maybe like revenge kill a like maybe a Scarf Volcanion at the range it was at, maybe, because I mean it isn't. It's like like what 0.25 effective. So, but even then, like just being able to like revenge kill things, maybe like a Scarf Flygon or a D-Dance up Flygon. So Screech was definitely very, very risky. I guess it was his way of dealing with Quagsire, but like he has an Amoonguss that pretty much hard walls it. Other mons that have like Gardevoir who had the potential to get grass coverage, but maybe just didn't want to run grass coverage. But I don't know. Sometimes you just gotta stick with the generic stuff in order to pull off the victory. I guess, I mean, like I said, it worked for him, but maybe in the future just kind of like pull off some more generic stuff. It may be predictable, but I don't know.
I know. I think BC played very well that match.
No, he did. I'm just saying, like, overall. I mean,
right.
Yeah, I think just the Screech on the Weavile. There were a few misplays, like sacking the Rotom Frost. That's kind of up in the air if that's a misplay or not, because it did tell him that Volcanion was Scarf, and then he could have gone into his Empoleon and not been, like, 2-hit KO'd by a Flamethrower, so that was nice.
Alright, next up we have your match, Noah. Abda P and his Calgary Hydro Cannons versus the Gaming Club and his Beijing Behemoths. Immediately turn 1, the Victini gets pursued, which...
Sucks.
That kind of sucks, yeah.
I think it played a really good, like, other than losing the Victini, or like essentially losing the Victini in a very early game, which is very pivotal later in the match because that allows him to like kind of freely switch around things like, so I mean he doesn't really switch them around, but it gives an opening for things like Celesteela, Scyther, even a Slowbro, because like a I think I was running Thunderbolt. I don't remember my exact sets, but you know, just a lot of mons to kind of just come in freely and do whatever they please. So that was just kind of a bad lead matchup, and it kind of just decided the game. But those first few turns after that, I think I played pretty well. You know, you see, like, I send in Kyurem, predicting the fact that he's probably going to send in Blissey. I go Hitmonchan, and predicting the fact that he probably is going to go into Spiritomb, go for Thunder Punch. Not really the most, like, superb, like, series of plays, but it's kind of obvious, but it's like, okay, well, at least I didn't like go for Drain Punch or like things like that and just be put in another bad situation. But you know, so I don't know. It was I think my downfall with this match was just kind of being under prep for Spiritomb. Even though I knew he would bring it, I just thought I had enough things to deal with it. But I just didn't think he'd bring Blissey, considering I had so many things that were just really good against it. Also, Charm Blissey was really cool. I think it worked really well for him because it allowed my Delmies to kind of just get annihilated by it. Well, not annihilated, but it allowed it to get kind of walled. We kind of wall each other, so that was annoying. But, you know, just I think one of the pivotal moments in this match was kind of losing Victini in the beginning and then kind of just getting the Spiritomb and Blissey kind of thing. There were misplays, but just losing Victini just cost the game. There were a lot of dummies and things like that, shenanigans with rest and all that jazz, and Spiritomb was just a really annoying mon. But overall, I think it was a fun match. Especially the Meowstic versus Blissey shenanigans was pretty fun. Like, just magic coding the stealth rocks for like 5 turns or something like that. That was fun.
Yeah, so Gravity Landorus. I want to mention this for a bit. So the Landorus Incarnate is able to set up a Gravity and a Swords Dance, and just kind of, it kills the Celesteela on the switch in, and it just gets up a Swords Dance, but it gets Will-O-Wisped and all that kind of shenanigans. Allows it to...
Yeah, like, what's funny is I actually didn't realize, but apparently Gravity doesn't, because I had Supersonic Sky Strike on my Landorus, so what's funny is I couldn't actually go for Fly because of Gravity, so that was unfortunate, but, yeah, I don't know. I mean, getting Landorus chipped down, I might have been able to deal with Komodo. I didn't think he would stay in. I think Earthquake at the range he was at, I think actually, like, killed the Komodo, because he was at -1 defense, and I'm max attack. I think... No, I'm not max attack adamant, because I was Jolly, so I could outspeed something, I don't remember. But, I don't know, I just didn't think he'd stay in, so that's why I set up the Gravity, expecting a incoming Celesteela. But he just stayed in and went for the sub again. Probably just predicting an over-prediction there, but... I mean, good job on Abda's part. He definitely played... very safe, and he played... kind of just, like... He kind of, like, was able to kind of clean up at the end once his Spiritomb... He got a free switch out of Spiritomb, but...
Alright, so that match ended in a 3-0 in Abda's favor. I think both of you guys played pretty well. I think it was a generally good showing for both of you.
Yeah, because to be honest, I think almost all of his mons that were left were, like, I think at, like, 50% or below. Because I know I think Slowbro was the highest HP of them all at, like, what, like 40-something%? 47? So, I mean... If it had been able to, like, the only way I could have won that was maybe getting, like, paras and full paras with Thunderbolt. That was the only way I could have won. But even then, like, I would have to do that with Komodo, like, multiple times. So, that would have been interesting to see. But, So, I think your match is actually up next. And that's an interesting one, because...
Yeah. The Memphis Mamoswines versus the Westerville Wailords.
So, James has now been successfully able to pull off 2 6-0s of the season. I don't know. I think this is only the third 6-0, 2 of them by him. Very interesting showing. It kind of starts with a very interesting set of, like, Rindoberry, Vaporeon that goes for Wish and allows a free switch into the Tapu Bulu at full health. And then just Ant-Man just kind of just going for Psychics and just getting off a tremendous amount of damage on things, especially the Tapu Bulu. I don't disagree with the Rock Slide play whatsoever. I definitely think an incoming, like, Rapidash or Volcarona was very obvious, considering Hornleech would have done nothing. So maybe he thought he, like, kind of, like, predicted that, or maybe he just wanted to get off damage. I don't know. But yeah. I don't disagree with that play. But
honestly, I think that Rock Slide kind of helped me in a sense, because it gave me an opportunity to switch into Magnezone.
Like, yeah, free switch
on the Tapu Lele.
Yeah.
And then not Tapu Lele. Magnezone gets a Volt Switch off on the Volcarona, which really kicks things off, because then Ryusei comes in.
I think that.
And he gets up a Shell Smash.
Yeah, I do think that he was just very underprepared for Minior. I definitely think a Cryogonal Focus Sash Cryogonal could have easily stopped this thing from sweeping, like, easily. Like, I'm pretty sure it, like, could have, a Freeze Dry plus a Ice Shard killed this thing. So, I definitely think that it was if he had brought that thing, I don't really know why he didn't, to be honest, because like it allowed him to deal with so many things on your team, like Donphan, Tapu Bulu, Vaporeon, Minior, things like that. And if he had like HP Ground too, he could have easily done with Magnezone. I think a great set could have been like Freeze Dry, Ice Shard, HP Ground, Rapid Spin, and maybe Recover instead. I don't know, but pretty much not being under prep for Minior kind of just led to his downfall because literally every mon on his team could not take a hit from this thing. Like just acrobatics plus earthquake, nothing took it. I think that's one of the problems with Ant-Man's team composition. He just doesn't really have many things that like resists things like ground plus rock. Because I'm pretty sure, does he have a steel type? I'm not quite sure if he does, but yes, he has Extra-Drill, but unfortunately, that's weak to ground. So it's like, so I think maybe like I think a Bronzong could have really helped out his team. I mean, of course he doesn't have a Bronzong, but like, I don't know. Things like this, just like Minior, he just doesn't really have anything to resist a hit. Like, I mean, Kingdra's really the only thing that just takes neutral damage. That
Tapu Lele takes neutral, but it was at like 16 or something percent, so.
Yeah, and Tapu Lele doesn't have the best defenses in the world, so it's like,
Well, neither does Kingdra.
Yeah, Kingdra. I know Kingdra could have lived a non-shell smash hit, but it definitely couldn't live a, just a +2 hit because, just I think being under prep for Minior really kind of just changed the game in your favor, I guess.
All right. Well, next up we have a match between Krakenation of the Boston Bishops and Nefertum of the NJ Flabebe. Avalugg actually got a kill.
Yeah. For once, Krakenation actually was able to hit more than one Hurricane. He only missed one Hurricane, which is, I mean, I don't know. I feel like he kind of deserved to hit all those Hurricanes just considering the fact that he, like, I don't know.
Got severely hacked out throughout the first few weeks.
I think Krakenation's definitely on a really good roll now because he's on, like, what? Like, I don't even know. Like, +5 win streak or something like that. I think he's the highest win streak of any person. It's really ironic, though, because he was considering quitting after the second match, and now he's, like, tied for the top with Abda P on the #1 slot. So it just goes to show that even though you got 2 consecutive losses, you can still definitely come back from that and have a great season. So I think Krakenation's had a great season so far. I wouldn't say that Nefertum played this badly. I think it was just like a combination of a little bit of hacks and good playing on Krakenation's part that kind of just decided the game. And I don't know. I don't really think he was too prepared for the Avalugg. I think his really only check to it maybe be the Scizor, but like Scizor, I don't know. Bullet Punch would have done a good chunk, but I don't even know if it would have 2-KO'd because Avalugg's pretty bulky, and Bullet Punch, I mean, with Technician, what is it like?
If the Lucario was special, which I don't believe it was because it was a Sword Stance set, but if the Lucario was special, it would have been able to deal with the Avalugg a lot better.
Just a lot of there was quite a bit of hacks, like confusing, like missing a Hurricane, but then going on and just hitting a Hurricane and confusing, and then getting the confusion. That's what's pretty funny. And then like missing Play Rough a few times with Zoomro. It wasn't a hacks-driven game, but it was like there's definitely a lot of hacks that kind of just like we said before. It's kind of like hacks didn't really decide the game. It kind of just like raised differential in one person's favor. So I think, I mean, props to Krakenation. He brought like special Salamence, which is great because it allowed him to easily just not have to risk a roll with Earthquake on the Lucario. So that was great. I mean, I don't really know why the last turn maybe, I mean, I guess it was a role to live, so maybe Lucario, maybe, I mean, it could have swept in the end, I guess, but like, even then, if the Diggersby had quick attack, then he could have just like, or then again, extreme speed. So I don't know. I think he might have been able to pull it off if he was able to live in EQ / whatever the heck Kraken Nation was running. But he's just been going to be special and then just wins. So, like I said, I don't think they played badly. I just think that kind of Kraken Nation kind of out prepped and had a little bit better team building. Not like better team building, but like just better team matchup is what I'm trying to say.
All right. So speaking of hacks driven, our next match is quite a hacks driven match. It is Jatun and the Vancouver Golducks versus Todd and the Chicago Bouffalants.
I would honestly, I wouldn't say it's hacks driven. I'd say it's more if Jatun is not like lying or not like kind of just, I don't know. But apparently Jatun was having some technical difficulties with his computer and clicking certain mons that didn't end up being the mon he wanted. I don't know if that would have really saved him the game, to be honest, because like, yes, having Leafeon around would have been great, but like he had a few, there were mons like say Goodra, say Dugtrio, well, not Dugtrio, but Dugtrio could have trapped it and maybe gone for like an Aerial Ace or something. It ended up being Scarf, I think. So, but even then, like Willow, Sableye could have stopped it. There were definitely checks there in place to kind of stop the Leafeon, especially Rotom fan, who ended up putting a lot of work this match. It just volt switched around, and it pretty much just like kind of like chipped down his team with volt switch. Sableye plus Rotom fan definitely put in a lot of work this match. Really just taunting the Milotic, kind of switching in the Rotom fan, volt switching out. It was just a really annoying thing that really just worked out in Todd's favor. I mean, there were ways Jatun could have won this game despite his misclicks or something like that. I'm not sure the misclick, I don't know what the heck was going on with his misclicks. I mean, I've had it happen before where I'll like cancel moves and then I'll click a new one and it will do the move that had happened before I canceled it, but I've never heard of just clicking something and then something else happening. I'm pretty sure he might have just misclicked on accident. But, I mean, that happens. I mean, it happens in Wi-Fi, it happens in Showdown. It's unfortunate, but it happens. I definitely think Todd played this game very well, and considering the sets that he was talking about that he said he had Scarf Dugtrio. He had Z-Haze, Z-Haze Tapu Fini, which was amazing. I've seen Z-Refresh, but Z-Haze did the exact same thing. Pretty much just remove stat changes, which pretty much easily allows him to deal with, say, things like a Haxorus or something like that. Say it's at like +2, gets an SD up. He said he can live a Poison Jab, so he can get a Poison Jab off, Z-Haze, remove all the stat changes and get right back up to full, and then kill him with Moon Blast the next turn, or something along those lines. So definitely great prep on Todd's part. I don't know. Jatun, even with the misclicks, I still think Todd really just had this game in the bag. He had so much, like Haban Bear, like he was like over prepped for. I wouldn't say over prepped, but he definitely had a lot of answers to Haxorus, which I probably should have learned from in my game. Like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. So, yeah, a lot of.
Who would have thought Rotom Fan would have been an MVP in any match? It just got like critical hit after critical hit after critical hit, and it's like, wow. Like Rotom Fan putting in work. I like it
too. So that was really nice. It did allow him to deal with like maybe like a just a regular Haxorus like Dragon Dance or something, I guess. I don't know. It also allows him to outspeed like just things that he normally wouldn't. I don't fully know Jatun's. It also outspeeds Blaziken as well. There is a play I don't agree with though, is him switching in Cofagrigus on the Tapu Fini when a Nature's Madness is very, very obvious. Maybe he thought he was going to Ice Beam or something, but, like, Nature's Madness definitely whittled down the Cofagrigus, and Pain Split is that thing's only form of recovery. And then he went for Trick on top of that, which maybe he was, like, I don't know what he was, like, Banded, Specs, but, I mean, I guess it told him he was, like, Z-Move, but he didn't even know it was Z-Move until, like, later. So I don't really agree with that play. I think just sending in Milotic to kind of stall it out, because once he lost Leafeon, he pretty much, that was really his only option to deal with the Tapu Fini. So it's unfortunate, but I mean, that's what happens.
Yeah.
So I don't even know what our next match is. I don't know if we're going in a specific order or not, but I mean,
Go ahead, pick one.
I'll pick. Let's do the San Diego Wild Chargers versus the Tampa Tyranitar. I think, right?
That's right.
Okay. I almost.
This was a pretty close match. This was a 1-0 in the favor of the Wild Chargers. Like, let's look at team matchup for a second. It's kind of strange. Like, there's such things like Latios, which really don't have too much of a check. But there's also things like Entei and stuff like that, which also don't have too much of a check. So, really, there's big offensive threats on both sides.
I guess an Intimidate Gyarados could check Entei. But didn't he have,
Not
like,
if it has Roar.
I think he had, like, HP Electric on his, what's his face, his Entei.
Yeah,
It was an interesting set, I will say. I mean, I definitely think Rylai's played the game very well. And he chipped down he allowed the Gyarados to be chipped down to the point where he could kill it with HP Electric from the Entei, which definitely allowed the Gyarados, because getting rid of Gyarados pretty much freed up a lot of Mons and didn't have to worry really about Intimidate anymore. So that was nice, because then he didn't have to worry about, like, Earthquake on his Magneton, or just Dragon Dance sweeping or something like that. That could have been annoying. So
I don't agree with is the Magneton sack. Sorry.
Oh.
The Magneton sack. Not sure if that really would have been the best. Like, I know Gyarados was gone by that point, but Magneton still put in some work. I mean,
Scarf Analytic or Specs Analytic could have been very, very powerful. Honestly, it might have just been because he didn't know he was kind of scouting for the EQ on the Latios. Maybe to decide if he wanted to keep it in, like, an Entei or something. But I think, considering the range of HP Entei was at, especially after Rocks, I think it would not have been practical to switch that in. But, like, maybe, like, to 1v1 it or something. I don't know. Or, like, a -2 Latios. But good prep on Solry's part for bringing Earthquake. I don't think it's really, like, not common, because I've seen Latios run Earthquake before, but it allows him to get off a Draco, and then in that scenario, just get off an EQ and just kill it. So that's cool. But this just goes to show that literally Zangoose can always put in work. That thing is such a monster. I don't understand.
Yeah, it didn't have Facade for some reason. It used, like, Return on the Electros.
Yeah, I don't really...
If it had Facade, it would have killed the Electros and probably gone on to put a lot more work. So...
Yeah, I don't really understand Return. I think he just forgot, to be honest. He probably could have gotten a much bigger win, because, like, I know, literally, I think Zangoose gets, like, what, like, I don't know, like, close combat to deal with Mamoswine. He could have killed the Electros. He could have... I mean, I honestly don't know why he didn't go Latios, to be honest. Because, like, Latios, it outspeeds his Zangoose, unless it didn't actually outspeed, which, I mean, I do think there was a lot of hacks in Soul Reach favor though, or not a lot, but definitely like missing a Sacred Fire on the Elite Trust definitely lowered the differential a lot for the that. So I don't know. I think that's definitely a thing.
Yeah, hacks is a general theme throughout the CSL this season. It's kind of sad.
Season 7, the season of hacks.
Alright, next match is Cool Me Down B and his San Antonio Espers versus Entertainment and his Syracuse Sylveons.
I just want to say that this match was not this match definitely was not decided by hacks in any means.
It really wasn't.
It really, yeah, it wasn't. Like he Entertainment Dan, he definitely brought great prep with the Lumberry. I'm not even joking. I was being facetious, but in all seriousness, I do think that his Aggron set was really interesting. Hone Claw's Rock Polish, definitely an interesting set to say the least. It definitely got off damage, I'll say that the least. I mean, Head Smash does so much damage, especially to the Espers, because like, what does he have that resists both rock and steel type coverage? Like, he has like nothing on his team that does that. I mean, his Mew takes it, so like, I don't know.
Mew takes it only if it's burned though.
Yeah, as well. Like, if he hadn't burned him, Head Smash would have just killed. That's I don't know.
Yeah, Scrafty ended up just kind of like the Vanillux just kind of was there and it died. Gotta understand why.
Yeah, maybe he wanted to bluff the Scarf, maybe, because like I think he's run that before, but he was Life Orb, so like, and he knocked it off, so it's like, okay, so he just came in. Maybe I honestly, I don't know. Maybe he was like, oh well, I brought this in. I honestly don't know why he brought it in at all. Maybe it was I don't really know. So maybe why would he send? Maybe. Yeah, I literally
Hold on,
know.
Noah, I'm gonna have to cut this out of the recording.
You already told me that you were leaving now. 25 minutes ago.
Alright, that's gonna have to be cut out. Continue with what you were saying.
Anyway, I don't agree with him switching in Vanillux. He might have some reason. I don't know, but yeah, sacking Vanillux was kind of not a good play in my opinion, because that thing would allowed him to take on like maybe you know what, he was probably just sacking it probably just to get a free switch into Florges. So that's probably the case.
Yeah, maybe. I think it's just a case of under-prepping for Scrafty.
Yeah.
Like, sure you have Florges, but like, that's it. Scrafty hits like everything else for super effective coverage. Literally everything else on your team. Florges is a check to Scrafty in most cases, but it's like everything else on your team gets bodied by it.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just have one check for a Mon and be like, okay, that's good. Because if that Mon dies, then what do you do? There was a bit of a roost war between, like, the Mew and the Talonflame until both switch out.
Yeah. I mean, he probably should have brought a Sash. I think a Sash Vanillux would probably have been better, because then he could have, like, I don't know. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Vanillux gets like Dazzling Gleam or something. Not sure about that. But I also think he probably should have brought like Aura Sphere Mew or like something like that, which I think he did say he was contemplating. But that allowed him to hit the Aggron, allowed him to hit the Scrafty and things like that. instead of psychic, because like yes, psychic. I mean, I guess it deals with tox effects, but like, how much is a psychic going to do to a tox effects? Maybe like, I don't know, but I don't know. I definitely think Entertainment has played one of his better games this season, and just like
Yeah.
kind of like playing around things like Mew and things like that, and just kind of building up so that Scrafty could potentially sweep, and which it did. So
Yeah. I have to mention this again, though. This match was not decided by hacks. Even if he had burned the Scrafty, it still has Moxie, so it
yeah, I think he
still
said
would
it's
have
like
been a 5-0. Like, it didn't even affect differential. It still would have been a 5-0 in Dan's favor if the Scrafty was burned, because the Scrafty would have most likely just killed the Mew, gotten the Moxie boost, killed the floor just with Poison Jab, gotten the Moxie boost, kept going along with that. So, yeah. Next match is Zwoops and the Detroit Pyroar and Goyard and the Kairuna Krabby. Goyard is a new replacement coach for the Washington Weaviles, aka Dubstep Penguin, who stepped down this season.
It's sad because I think Dub has been here since like season 1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sad. But anyway, Gord is here, and Gord is here to draw his mark. So
Yeah, I mean, Gord is not a bad player by any means. But looking at the team matchup for this match, I see nothing on Gord's team for Tapu Koko, really. Like, maybe Uxie.
maybe Yuxi, maybe Leavanny. I don't
Not
know.
Leavanny, no. Leavanny has trash defenses, man.
But I mean, it can take a Thunderbolt, I guess. You can switch in on it, and it couldn't outspeed, but I don't know. Maybe with the sticky web up. So
Yeah, who knows?
I will say, I do like Gord's set with Imprison. I think it was
Imprison Ninetales, yeah.
yeah. Because that allowed him to not click Moonblast. I'm not sure if it didn't mean he could click like Keelbell or something, but very interesting there.
Yeah. Not sure how much it did, but
I think a Aurora Veil probably would have been more helpful to be honest though. Because like Aurora Veil, like in Prison is cool, but just yeah, I don't know. Because with Aurora Veil, things like things that would normally not die or normally die to like a Trevenant's Horn Leech or something like that, or a Tapu Koko's Thunderbolt or something like that would not. I definitely think Aurora Veil. It's essentially light screen and reflect at the same time. So you, and it lasts for like 8 turns with the hail. So I don't know.
yeah, I do think that Aurora Veil would have put in more work there, but
yeah. Zwoops also ran Quick Claw Bronzong. Very
Quick
interesting.
Claw Bronzong. Okay.
I mean, I guess it allowed to get rocks up for something else, but or just before it died, maybe. But it's like 10% chance, I think. So I don't know if that really was the best in the end, but I don't know. Skuntank actually, even though being, in my opinion, a very bad defogger, considering I've used it last season in the CSLL Season 3, I mean, Swoops made it work, I guess. I mean, she kind of just switched in on... It worked against, like, Leavanny, because it could have easily just killed it, and it could have defogged. But also Calm Mind Tapu Koko definitely was an interesting set. But Yuxi, I don't know. Yuxi's I think Yuxi's a check because it goes for light screen. It gets, Psy Shocks off. I mean, you can't really touch it, but I mean, guess it works with light screen. So there's that. But I don't know. Swoops played this really well and kind of just chipped down things just so that Trevenant was able to get a nice and Forest Curse sweep near the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Especially considering that she did Forest Cursed against the what's its face, the Crobat. So that was cool.
Yeah. So our last match of the day is Alpha Horays and his Macargo Tel Aviv versus Easy Bake Oven and his Texas Toros. Speepy died. All hearts in for Speepy. Let's have a few moments of silence for the death of Speepy.
There was something I noticed though in this match. Now, I think in the middle of the game, he goes for Tail Glow and Easy Bake switches in the Porygon. Now, I think what Alpha Horay should have done was gone for another Tail Glow and then gone for the Surf/Hydro Vortex, whatever would have killed. Because at that point, he could have killed the Aegislash. He would have still been at the same point of HP with Thunderbolt, but he could have easily, so then Shadow Sneak might not have killed. I don't think he was running Shadow Sneak considering the Aegislash turned out to be special. But then he could have easily come in and he could have outsped literally everything on his team and just if he was timid, of course, and maybe just killed everything, or at least done a huge chunk of damage to everything. Because I know maybe Meloetta could have lived it. That's probably the only thing. Maybe if he was AV, and maybe a little bit of Spidef. But I think Alpha could have maybe just swept here. But he decided to go for the Hydro Vortex instead of the Surf, which I'm not sure I agree with. But maybe he didn't want the Porygon getting a speed boost and a thunder, a Thunderbolt off. I don't know, or a conversion
I don't understand that either. Honestly, I don't even know if the conversion is allowed.
I think it is because I think someone's used it in LO before. So, but Z conversion, maybe if he had a Thunderbolt off, maybe that's really the only reason I could see him doing that. But then he could have killed him afterwards. So I don't really know. I think that was a pretty big misplay on Alpha Horay's part. Maybe there was a reason for it, but from what I can tell, I don't really think there was. Because then Aegislash was able to live the Surf and just revenge kill with the Shadow Ball. So I don't really know. I don't know why he didn't do that. But that really just allowed Easy Bake to kind of come in with Steelix on his pincer and really just severely chip down that. And at that point, it allowed him to get a free switch in Hydreigon and just deal tremendous amounts of damage to really a lot of things in just with Burnout Arcanine, which I do give props to Easy Bake for because that allowed things if he used that Burnout Arcanine and then his Manaphy came in, he wouldn't have been able to kill, or he probably wouldn't have, but if he was not if he had special defense investment, he could have lived a +3 Surf and just excuse me killed him from there with maybe a Wild Charge if he had it. But I don't know. I wouldn't say Alpha Race played it bad. I feel like he played it very safe, and that kind of didn't pay off for him. And he had a lot of defensive threats, and just letting all those get weakened just kind of cost him the game. I think he actually ended up forfeiting. Yeah, he did. After his Cresselia died, he kind of just forfeit. A lot of forfeits this week, I will say that.
Yeah, strange. A little bit of a Meloetta sweep, I guess. I don't know if I can call it a sweep because it was a forfeit, but...
Yeah, killed, it kind of 1v1 the Cresselia, and then just, Registeel. Yeah, but... he couldn't have won, I would say, but Registeel, depending on his set, maybe would have been able to take care of the, Meloetta if enough Focus Blast miss had occurred, so not really sure. I'm pretty sure the way he just forfeited, he's probably just running Seismic Toss or something like that. I don't know. But I don't know. Alpha Race, this match is weird. I think that misplay with the Manaphy, in my opinion, kind of cost him. Because, yeah, then he could have just swept through Easy Bake's team, unless he was running a Scarfmon, which he didn't end up bringing, so.
Yeah. Solid win for Easy Bake Oven right there.
Yeah.
That
they
is it.
capitalized on it. So
That is it for the CSL weekly recap for week 7. Sorry we didn't have anything last week. I was just pretty busy and stuff happened, so nothing was uploaded last week, but we're still going to be continuing the CSL channel just how it's been. We're still going to have all the shows and everything. We're still going to keep a commitment. And you can watch out for me, Jamesanity, now a GBA analyst, on the GBA channel. So yeah. So that's about it. Noah, do you have any closing words?
I guess this week was a power rank matches week. I guess I didn't know if we mentioned that, but pretty much people from the Hoenn Conference, the Sapphire and Ruby division, faced off with Diamond and Pearl division people that they normally wouldn't. So there's that. But I mean, I don't really have much to say.
All right.
I'm a man of few words.
Okay. So we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Goodbye.